Popular culture and media have a great impact in how we perceive and view various things in life. It sets certain expectations which are usually unmet and far from reality.
Hi, I'm Abhishek, a TESOL certified IELTS instructor at B-GHUD.
I'm Elsa and I'm also an IELTS instructor at B-GHUD, and today we'll be reacting to a very popular scene from the cult classic Bangalore days.
We will look into certain aspects of speaking, including diction, intonation, and pronunciation. We'll also discuss some things that you need to keep in mind while preparing for an interview.
To give some context, in this scene, Kuttan, played by Nivin Pauly, is giving his interview for a software company based in Bangalore. Let's see how well he performed.
ഞാൻ കുട്ടൻ കൃഷ്ണൻ ബി പി എന്ന് വിളിക്കും.
Mr. Krishna BP, your father is a farmer, but you opted for the software industry. Why?
That is because after a great consideration and consultation, I came to the conclusion that the socialist illusion was a great botheration to the Indian nation whose chief occupation was cultivation and irrigation. But with further contemplation and deliberation, I discovered that without globalization and exploration, there cannot be optimization to make India's transformation to a superpower nation. So,
How about Bangalore for your first posting, Mr. Krishna BP?
അങ്ങനെ ചോദിച്ചാ ഏത് മലയാളിയാ വേണ്ടാന്ന് പറയാ?
So Abhishek, what are your thoughts on this particular scene?
This is an epic scene from the movie Bangalore days. I still remember laughing out loud with my friends when I saw this at the cinemas. Of course, Nivin Pauly has done a great job in making the character sink into the audience. But when it comes to the real life, it is completely a different scenario.
Definitely.
This is just with the real life situation, and this is absolutely not a criticism of this movie.
Definitely.
And not the scene, okay? Right. So when it comes to real life, it's very important for you to speak in the best way possible. You should sound natural and should never try to memorize certain words and phrases when it comes to speaking, when it comes to IELTS speaking test or for an interview.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of the candidates appearing for IELTS and even for job interviews, they try to memorize sentences, they try to add in new words, and that's where the point of diction comes into play. We need to make sure that we're using the right words and we're also not using anything unnecessary, right? Like all these bombastic words, just forcing vocabulary even when it's not entirely necessary or needed
Right.
in that particular
Again,
sentence.
when it comes to specifically job interviews, you might, of course, do a background research of the company, right? And then when you get to know about the company, you might have a tendency to learn a lot of things related to this company, memorize a lot of things. And when a specific question is asked, candidates often have a mindset to come up with everything that they have studied, which might not be exactly relevant to the question asked. Right? So that again is something that you should focus on. So the first point that you should remember is to avoid memorized answer. Then second, as Elsa mentioned, is about the diction, right? Again, when it comes to the tone, which is the intonation part of the speech, that too is very important. The interviewer can easily catch a memorized answer from the tone of your speech. Your tone should have ups and downs. Intonation is again very important for IELTS speaking test, right? For example, instead of stating, I like to play outdoors, I like to play outdoors. See the tone variations that I brought into this particular sentence.
Definitely. And basically try to avoid speaking in a monotone. Make sure there are highs and lows. And the last point that you need to keep in mind is to make sure that you're stressing the right syllables, you're pronouncing the words right.
For example, if it is vegetable, it's not vegetable, it's vegetable. The stress should be on the VEG part of the word. So this has certain, again, this is closely related to pronunciation. You should never try to imitate an accent. You should again try to speak naturally in front of the interviewer. Your answer should be crystal clear too. Again, in this scene, Nivin Pauly is going on repeating certain words in a continuous way. I think he didn't even breathe before completing the answer,
there was
right?
Not a single pause between any of the words.
Yes, that's right. So again, you should avoid such kind of a situation when it comes to a real life scenario, right? That's it. So we'll now do a sample interview for you. Alfonso will join us, and Elsa and Alfonso will take an interview so that you can clearly listen as on how to use stress, diction, intonation, and avoid using memorized answers.
What was your dream job when you were young?
When I was young, I aspired to become a teacher. I gained a lot of inspiration from my grandfather, who used to be a teacher in a school nearby. I still remember when I was a child, I used to dress up like a teacher and stand in front of the mirror and assumed that I was teaching students.
Abhishek, you said you're an engineer. Why did you choose this field? And why did you change your mind on your dream job?
I badly wanted to teach children and pass on knowledge to the next generation. However, teachers are not well paid in my place. In my high school, I developed a passion towards designing. So I decided to become an engineer, as it has a lot of scopes in today's world.
Abhishek, what are some challenges you faced during your studies?
In the initial days of my college life, it was a bit difficult for me to get along with my friends. As I studied in a place away from my hometown, a lot of my friends were from different parts of my country. So it took some time to build a rapport with them. The second thing that I really found it difficult was with mathematics. Initially, it was so difficult for me as it dealt with a lot of complex calculations, but eventually I got used to it. On top of that, in the final year, I had to submit a project work which was based on a subject that was not so familiar to me. So I had to go through a lot of journals and work really hard to complete it.
Never forget the 3 golden words: stress, diction, and intonation. So the next time you appear for an interview or even your speaking test, make sure that you bring a bit of your personality, try to have a personal take on answers, and no need to memorize anything. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Parada. Oh, parada. Okay.
Hello.
Popular culture and media. Hello. Okay. Parada. Popular culture and media. Ayo, marunoi.
I'm Abhishek, a TESOL certified IELTS instructor. 30.
എന്റെ മുടിയൊക്കെ എങ്ങനെയുണ്ട്? അതൊന്ന് നോക്ക്, ശരിക്കും നോക്കിട്ട് പറയാം. തല കുലുക്ക.
നിനക്ക് പെട്ടെന്ന് വീട്ടിൽ പോകാനല്ലേ?
To give some context, in this scene, Kuttan, played by Kuttan.